So hi everybody and welcome back to C++ tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 221 and in this video we continue with our exercise. In our last video we stopped here at step 80 where we had this green scribbles here at this point, which was a warning, and I showed you that you can just watch on the web what this warning means. It was something like 6011 warning from Microsoft, and the meaning was that you have to check these pointers if they are null, and you can check it with a if. You can surround this with a if and then check for potential null pointers, and we did this. And then I showed you we cannot just surround it with a if, which will just not enter the code. We can also throw an exception, and in this case I throw an exception because in my code I said this here at this point, these 2 pointers must be set. If they are not set at this point, anything is wrong, and that's why I throw an exception. If I would say I don't care, I just could use a normal if, but here I want that I want that is indicating that there is an error, and this error I have to catch because the program is not working well defined. And then I showed you at step 90, let's go here a little bit more, that you have to use, of course, a try-catch block, because the word throw reacts only with a try-catch block, and a good way is just surround the whole, for example, the whole function here with a try-catch block, which we do here in our main. You can see here is our function call, and I surround it with a try, and this throw reacts then for this try, and later if it's throwing anything it will be catched in this catch block. And we learned already that there are different ways how you can catch it. You can catch here a little bit more. I just catch it now with this one, and I made this using my error code. Normally you would use here std exception, the standard library exception, but we have not talked in depth about this, but in future tutorials when we dive more into it and learn it a little bit more in detail. So, and here one more thing, then I said you can print it out, but you should use a log file, because sometimes the screen can freeze that you even can't see a log file. And here I use stdcr, which is similar to stdcout, but it is not buffering, so which means it prints out immediately. But sometimes even this one is not working, and that's why we will use normally a log file, which means an error will be write in a file which you can read as a programmer later. You open this file and all the information how you specified it will be shown there. So with that said, let's continue to 20. Let's see. Not here 20, because there is not here 20. And here in 20 is something interesting. Here in 20 we have something interesting, and it says here, I realized an error, only score is transferred. What I mean here, when I go back to my code, that is this point here, I make a check. Let me show this graphically. I check this here, this pointer with this pointer, and then I swap this, and then I loop this like I showed you till now. The problem is I make this only with the score data, and score data means just with the value, right? So in my score here, I make this just with this one, and the problem is I have to do this with the other values too. And the problem is how I do this, because I'm not swapping here the whole node. I'm just changing here the values, which means this one, the 63 is, for example, changed with 50, but this one stays at the same position, which means this 50 here belongs not to Coder, and the 63 will go down and belongs not to Maggie. That's the problem what I made here. But easy to fix. What we have just to do is swap the other values as well when you swap the score. So here I swap, for example, the score and so on, and now you have to swap the other values too. So that's very easy. So let's make here this let's write here an error, make it commenting out that was an error. And now let me replace this with my other things. And you can see I did here one more step, which I talk in a moment, but let me show you what I did before. This is the step 20. Let's copy this one and place it here, which is this one. And you can see this is this, oops, this is the same part here, like this one, just for the other values too. So I swapped the other values too here. The score data is all time the first line, then I stop the player name, and then the character class for all. All right. Okay, this is that. And let's continue. So in my other 21, step 21 is interesting. You can see what I did. Okay, this one still will not react anyhow. Will not. Here I'm because I'm down already. Okay, here's 21, and let me see something. Now it reacts. So in 21, you see the part which we just copied here is not here. And the thing is, I said, okay, the whole code I will need later perhaps again. So I can create a code, but actually in my case, I could also copy paste it because I need it only one more time. Normally you create a function when you reuse it many times or in many places. But to show you how you can make here a function, there is again a shortcut. You can create it manually, just make a function, put the whole code in a function, but you can also right click, go to this quick actions and refactoring. And then you have here the option extract function. Extract function means just create a function, but like I said, you can also create manually a function. Just write manually a function, just cut this code and put it in. But I want to show you this option as well. So, and here you create extract function, and then you name the function. Let's say, what was the name here? Swap all values. Let's call it swap all values. It's not a good name. Try to find a better way. Now I think my other one has a better name. And then here you can choose above the call place or below where you have the code. I make above because here I want call it at this place, so it should be already visible on the for the compiler above. And I make this one, and you can see what happens. So you can see the whole thing is replaced just with a function. Here is the name which I give. Here are the parameters which are needed. And like I said, you could make this manually as well. Just write here manually function, put in the parameters, cut off the function body and put it here on top. You can see it's just on top. And all the code is just placed here. You could make it with cut and paste like so. Here, this one you would create your own, and then you make here just copy and paste here this one in. So this is just a faster way. I hope that's very nice and handy sometimes when you try to refactor a lot of things. And yeah, I think that's good to know. So let's go here a little bit further. Let's see, 21 was I think that was 21. Let's see, yes, that was 21. Here we refactored a little bit. And 22, let's see what 22 is. That's 21, that's not 22, 22. So at this point, before I go on, I think we are at the point here where we start catching some errors and so. But I think we are at the point where my code already works. So let me show you this one first. So let's mark this one. Let's make here, no, oops. Let's make here control, what is going on? Control A, okay. Comment, okay, save. So at this point, my code is already working, I think. I'm not sure, because here I messed a little bit up, but let's start. If you don't know, just start it and see what happens. My code is not working. Okay, let's see what's happened now. Yes, there was one thing that's interesting also. So the point is why my code is not working. When you use this extract here, what I showed you just right now, like so. Let's make it again. Right click, and here's this quick action, and then look, there is this extract again. Let's go quick action here, this extract. Okay, this is not working. Why is this not working? Anyway, when you click this extract will create a header file. We have not talked about this different file systems. It's interesting, but we are not using at this point. You can just delete this header file here. Because if you are not deleting it, you have just to include it here on top, I think. You can include it here on top. But we can just delete it because we are not including anything, because we have all our code here in our place. So we don't need a header file. We don't need waste another file here. And then you can go here as well here to the header files and delete that what they created. Or you just include it in your CPP file on top. But I think we don't need that. Remove. And remove. Delete. I don't need that. So, and with that said, that was this thing. I think now it should work. Let's try it one more time. No. What's the next problem? Yeah, okay, you can see it's already automatically included here. Why so? Just delete this one as well. All right, now it should work. Okay, now it's working. Coder, let's see. And do we have here an output? So our goal is this one. My output looks sorted. Yes, and looks not really sorted, right? So when we see here something, we see here a little problem. So what we see here, just the names are the problem. Let's see if this is a problem. So we can see this one here again. So the point is, Coder is a warrior. So Coder is warrior, 63 is right. Okay, the only difference is that I have used the wrong name. So this is not a problem. You can see I used here Mehmet Wonder Woman instead of the output here, which Maggie, Jack, and Smith. Okay, the point what I want to show you here is this, I will replace this later. The point is our code is already, our code is at this point already working, and now comes another mistake. This code looks already right, but actually there are many bugs in it. There are still bugs in it, which means there are cases which I have not covered. And that's why I'm not finished here. So that's why I have here some more points, and I will go over this in the next video. But the big mistake is what many makes in development is, at least let's say I made it also, what is, hey, I test the code, because you have all time test your code, right? You create something, then you test something, and then you have something, and then said, yeah, it works. That is exactly the task here. You can see that's exactly the task what we wanted here. It's a sorting, and then you can perhaps test it a little bit other way too, and then you stop. But the problem is, let me show you perhaps the problem instead of talking about the problem all the time. What happens if I comment this out? Let's see if this is working. 2. Let's try to comment 2 out. Let's see, can I comment this one? This is working also with 2. I'm not sure. Perhaps I covered this case already. Is this right? Yes, this works. Okay, anyway, I show you the other arrows next time. What I want to point out is we have not covered all cases. We have not covered all problems which can still occur even the code looks right. Yes, the code looks right, it works, but as a programmer you have to cover all possible cases. This right now what you see is the code looks right, it is printing out, but there are some inputs which will cause problems. And I will talk about this in the next video. So I hope you tried this on your own too, because that's the main reason. Just understanding what I'm talking here makes no sense. You have to code your own. All the things what I'm showing you here, try to understand what we are doing, try to refactor all yourself this code and use it. And I hope you have a better solution than me, because this code what I show you right now, I just throw it in without, let's say, too much thinking about it, just for this presentation a little bit, that's it. But as a programmer, you have to think it a little bit more through. All right, with that said, see you in the next video. And like all time, if you have any questions, anything, write it in the comments, and see you in the next video. Bye and good luck.